Good afternoon, business community. Thank you for joining us for our pandemic marketing panel. If you don't know me, I am Debbie Mollahan. I'm the CEO of the Tiger Chamber, and I'm going to be the moderator for this panel that we've got. We've brought together some great marketing experts within our chamber. So I would like to have each one of them introduce themselves. So first of all, let's start with Megan DeSalvo with Edge One Media.
Hi, I'm Megan DeSalvo, co-owner of One Media. We're a digital marketing agency here in Tigard, and we're excited to be a part of the panel today. Thank you.
Stacy.
Hi, Stacy McCormick, MeasyMac Marketing. We are also a digital marketing agency in Tigard.
Jason.
Hey, Jason with Left Mind Media, a video production company here in Tigard.
Jessica Goubuan.
Hi, Jessica, Bridgetown Pictures. I'm a branding and lifestyle photographer and excited to give you some ideas.
And Jessica, love, why don't you introduce yourself too, since you're online?
Jessica Love with the Tiger Chamber of Commerce Community and Membership Engagement.
And she is our Wizard of Oz, making all of this happen for us. So we have some questions that we've actually come up with that we thought we'd answer first, as well as getting questions from our audience. So to the panel, how should you adjust your social media campaign during this time? So Megan, why don't we start with you?
So one of the biggest parts during this time is to realize where people are. And so when you are speaking to your audience, realize that everyone is in a different spot right now. There are people who are ready to make buying decisions. There are people who are not. And there are people who have completely shut down for the time being. So be empathetic to where people are. Think about what value you can provide to the people who are currently in the market for your services or what you're selling. And just try to pivot your messaging to be compassionate to what's going on.
Stacy, what advice do you have?
I would just say try to be as helpful as possible in your messaging and being forthcoming with your expertise and just being out there to help people. And maybe it's a softer sales message than we might typically use. But it is a really great opportunity to show yourself as an expert by sharing your knowledge in your industry and just trying to be helpful to people. I think is just the best you can do, because there's a handful of companies out there that I think are just taking advantage of this situation, and you don't want to be one of those people. So just try to be helpful, and whenever you can share your knowledge to help someone, I think that's a great opportunity.
Jason, how about you? Do you have any tips?
Yeah, I'd agree with what Megan and Stacy said, but additionally, I think you need to think of this as a time to serve people, because it's really going to depend on your industry, what your messaging is going to be. So it's hard to answer a question of you need to put this on social media and you need to put that. But what it really comes down to is this is a time to serve. So what does your community and audience need, and how can you serve them that? And along with that also comes what changes you're making due to the COVID crisis. So if you are obviously, like the obvious scenarios, like if you're a restaurant, you want to promote your delivery service, right? You want to promote free delivery, or that you're on Postmates or something like that, because that's how people are going to get your goods and services. So really just think about your audience and what you can do to serve them. Another thing is, now is actually a really good time for discounts, because people are looking for a deal right now. People are without jobs and they're looking to save money. So right now, any discount or coupons or anything like that is a great way to get new customers in the door.
Jessica Goubuan, do you have any tips for social media at this time?
Absolutely. I think that our heart is really going out to all those businesses that have had to temporarily close. And I think, you know, the one resource that we are always begging for is time, and we now have that. So using this time to really let your clients or your market see who you are and that you might be closed, but you're still here and you're still here to support them. It's a great time to be looking at changes you can make or how you can better serve that community. And like others have said, I think it's also really important to let people know how to help you. And if you're some kind of a service base, let them know that you are offering, gift cards, or get creative on ways you can still serve. Let's say you're a beautician, send, home care packets to people so that they can do their own thing. So I think it's a great time to, look at your offerings, continue to stay active on social media, and really show support for the community.
Thank you. So our next question is, so we've kind of talked about what you should do in terms of adjusting your social media campaign, but what platforms do you guys recommend that people should be spending time on for their businesses? And again, we'll start with Megan.
All of them. Right now, it's a great time to be working on your brand and be working on your brand in every space you can be in. There have never been more eyes on social media than there are right now. So wherever it is that you shine, or wherever it is that you have in the past not had time for, those are areas that you should be focusing on right now. So anything from Facebook to Instagram, TikTok, Twitter, LinkedIn, those are all valuable tools right now.
Stacy, what about you?
I would just say don't forget YouTube in the mix as well. Great opportunity, again, to show your expertise, to share your knowledge, make it available free for people, and they're going to remember you. If you're regularly posting videos and being helpful to people, they're going to remember you back when the economy comes back and they're ready to do business with you.
So Jessica, as a photographer, where do you think people should be spending their time on social?
I think I agree with everyone that you should be on everything if you can. I would say what you were on primarily before all this, I would continue with though, and just continue showing up and continue trying to get as much content as you can out there. Because like you were saying, when this is over, we want to come back with a roar. We don't want to come back like we've been hiding this whole time, or that we've gone away and start over. Just continue doing what you're doing as much as you can.
Jason, how about you?
Yeah, again, it's going to come down to specifically what business we're talking to, right? So it depends on where your audience lives, but wherever they live is where you want to have this, where you want to hit the strongest. So if you have generally speaking, a slightly older audience is going to be more on Facebook. A slightly younger audience is going to be on Instagram or TikTok. Kind of a mix, but mostly young to middle-ish people are going to be on YouTube. And the other thing is you have to think strategically about where you're putting your money in these platforms too, and why you are using them. So YouTube is great for things like how-to videos, because people are always looking up how to do stuff. And that's a great way to lead them back to your business. Facebook and Instagram is a good place to actually spend advertising dollars now, because you're going to get a lot more eyeballs on your content than any other platform. And but then you have not really social media, but you have like Google ads, which again, like Google and Facebook ads are good for different things. But Google ads are good for when people are looking for you online. So people are actually typing in your business and then or industry, and then Facebook ads are for people who don't necessarily know about you. So that's something to keep in mind as well, is just strategically thinking about how you're using each of these platforms.
So one of the things I've noticed is that just because there is so much content right now, so I spend more of my time on Facebook, because I'm in that older group category, right? I'm not on Instagram, I'm on Facebook. But what I'm seeing is it's hard to find stuff because there's so much content out there. So this wasn't in our list of questions, but would you be encouraging people to be posting more because there's already so much content out there so they can be seen?
Yeah, I mean, I can speak to that. So I'm currently telling my clients to double up what they've been doing. So whatever they've been doing in the past, double it. And then I also think now is a great time to also clean up your social media. So if you're in a bunch of groups or you're following a bunch of pages, it's a great time to cull through that and just make sure that it still is relevant to what you're doing right now.
So we have a question from our audience. Hang on a second, I can't read the whole question here. 2 questions. One is, what does taking advantage of the situation look like? I think that might have been in reference to businesses that might not be doing it the way we think they should. So I think Stacy, you're the one that made that comment. What does that look like?
I guess just trying to, maybe if you're a business that's operating out of fear and you're just so worried about your own business and you're just worried about how do I make my next dollar as opposed to how do I help someone and how do I help the community to grow their business. There's an idea out there in the world called giver's gain, and it's just the idea that the more that you give, the more that you receive back. And if you're only thinking of yourself, it's going to bite you in the end.
Okay. So we had another question. What are some no-brainer media fix update packages that you would recommend? And this is specifically to looks like home services, so like remodeling, pressure washing, that kind of thing. That's from Jim Huth. So just dive in there if anybody's got an answer to that, or raise your hand or something.
I guess my first question would be, your business listed everywhere that it could possibly be found? Do you have good reviews online? Now would be a really great time for you and home services to be asking for reviews. And receiving those, and just, working on touching people in other ways too. So I think there's multiple ways that you can reach people right now. Social media is just one of them.
I would add to that, really take a look and review your Google listing. Have you filled everything out completely? Have you added your company description, your elevator pitch? Have you added a free post? It's essentially a free ad that will run for a week, and you can talk about any special offers, anything that's just even remind people that yes, we're open. But the point being, take a look at your Google listing, your Bing listing, Yelp, your Facebook about page. Spend some time there. Really make sure everything is filled out completely. Any notes you need to make of how your business has changed currently.
And I think one of the other things you guys had shared in another conversation we'd had was, even if you've had to adjust your business hours, or maybe you're closed to the public, you don't want to be going and saying you're closed on like your Facebook business page or anything like that, because you could end up with your listing removed, correct?
Yeah, that would be a concern.
Yeah. So how should a business that maybe is having to close to the public, but they don't want to adjust their hours, how should they communicate what their adjusted hours are, or there's no hours, versus saying I'm closed from an hours perspective? How do they navigate around that?
Well, in your Google listing, for example, that's why you've got the description area, and you've also got an area for a post, and there's 2 separate areas that are perfect to make any comments about, while our stores are physically closed, we're still open for delivery or whatever it might be. We're still open for Zoom calls. We're still open for whatever it is that you're still doing. That's a great way to utilize that real estate.
Okay, great. And then another question we have while we're on the social media topic, this is from Chelsea Dorr. Do you guys recommend TikTok? I've seen a ton of it, but I thought it was just a fun app for younger people. Am I wrong?
You are wrong. No, so TikTok is actually really great. It's one of the platforms where you can post something right now, have 0 followers, and have tons of people view it. It is not necessarily the right place for you to be spending time for every industry, but I think that depending on your industry and what it is you're offering or trying to do to connect with people, TikTok is a very fun, fresh place to do it. And now with people, especially with people with children at home, it's being used more than it ever has been.
And if you want to kind of check out maybe how a business is using TikTok, The Tiger Chamber's been on TikTok for about almost 2 months now. So you could go to our TikTok channel on TikTok and see some of the creative and fun ways and serious ways that we have used TikTok to create awareness about the Tiger Chamber and what we do for our members. Okay, so next question. How do you clarify and communicate your services during this time? Who'd like to start? Jason?
Clarifying and communicating your services at this time, it's really going to be actually probably pretty video heavy, because one thing that's going to be really, really helpful is being able to explain what your services are. And the best way to explain stuff is on a video. People aren't going to read a really long post, but they will watch a short video. So if you have any problems communicating or getting your message across, or you've written a million blog posts and emails and people still aren't getting it, aren't seeing that you're still open or whatever, I would recommend doing a video. A video ad would be most effective, but at least doing a video post is going to be probably better than anything else.
Do any of our other panelists want to comment on this question? No? Okay. So our next question is, outside of social media, which a lot of us use a lot of social media for our businesses, what are some other ways to market businesses during this time outside of the traditional social media channels? Whoever would like to start.
Okay, so I think one of the things that people should be looking at doing is a call down of their current clients, if they haven't already, sending out emails, making sure that you are touching them in multiple ways. And everyone has preferred methods. So whenever we call our clients, one of the questions we ask is, how do you want to hear from us? And some people want it via text message, phone call, carrier pigeon. It's just important to figure out what's best for the person you're trying to reach. So that's one of the things I would say would be beneficial. Start with your current audience, and then outside of that, you can start to look at other things. I know someone who does mailers for homes that are in escrow. So it just depends on your industry, but there's lots of methods out there.
Yeah, we might even be resorting to the old school direct mail, like you mentioned. Let's not forget about some of the more what we might call non-traditional, or however you want to look at it, but maybe we kind of go back to basics for certain things. Email, direct mail, and again, going back to your business listing, your Google listing, it's a great platform. If anyone's searching for your category, make sure they understand that you're in fact open.
Yeah, I was going to say email campaigns would be really, really effective right now, because what you're doing with an email campaign is advertising to a warm audience. So you're getting all these people who already know you, have already purchased from you ideally. And if you have, so hopefully you've built up a customer database by now. And if you haven't, I'm sorry, but hopefully you have a customer database. And so you have this big email list. So email them out, because chances are your offerings have changed. So what they bought from you before is not what you're offering now. So your odds of selling them are going to be way, way higher to selling to a warm audience than selling to a cold audience.
What do you guys think about the use of like infographics as a way of marketing during this time, like either in a email campaign or maybe on your website or those types of things?
Visuals are always good. Great idea.
So the next question is how to continue to sell during this time. So any tips that you guys have for that?
I'll start again, I guess. One of the things I think that people need to know is that there still is business happening out there. There are certain industries that are actually thriving right now, doing great. Some of them feel very guilty for doing as well as they are. So there are still people out there who need the things that you're providing. So, just thinking about it a little differently, and instead of trying to blanket and be something for everybody, try to really look at how can you serve the people where they're at right now, and how can you help them and provide value to them. I think that some of the beauty that's come from this are places where they're donating some of their supplies that they're not able to use, restaurants that are donating meals, just things like that. That's really beautiful. People are going to remember that. So, I think just looking at how you're selling and how to pivot it and change it to be more value driven and to target more of the people who are doing well right now.
I think one thing to really consider in this climate is any selling that you're doing should be coming from a place of helping others. We really, and I think Stacy said this earlier, try to make sure that you're not selling from a place of profiting off of the pain of the community right now. So remember to take this time, let's say you're not able to work right now, take this time to really think about what you can do to help and not what you can do that you can sell.
Okay, we have a couple of more additional member audience questions. One is from Tom Engel. Many of us are experiencing video and audio skips on Zoom calls. Are there general recommendations you can make to improve video and call quality online?
I would say don't use Zoom. If you don't have to, don't use it. Use something instead, like Google Hangouts, Facebook Chat if you're just doing one-on-one, Skype. There's a million video services that came out before Zoom, and Zoom just for whatever reason got huge. So when this thing hit, everyone's like, Zoom, I gotta get on Zoom. But you really don't. There's a plethora of other options. So Google Hangouts is one that I recommend because you're going to be on Google's servers. So those are like the best, most robust servers in the world. You're guaranteed to be on one. So I would use Google Hangouts, but like I said, there's a million services you could use.
Another thing that you should look at is one thing I noticed on my computer is my memory is if my computer is getting full to capacity, it really does mess with my speakers and my volume for any of the video or anything that I'm using.
So yeah,
Yeah,
close down any extra windows, close down any extra browsers, any extra windows that you've got open, and just try to save up your memory as best as you can.
Yeah,
I
it's
also
a general
know-
tech tip. Not only the memory, but you guys are actually talking about two separate things. One is the memory and one is the hard drive space. So you want to have enough memory, and you also have to have some hard drive space clear, because when your hard drive fills up, your computer starts to suck.
I think the other tip I've heard I know works is if you're coming across Wi-Fi can only handle so much bandwidth before some of that stuff starts to happen. So if you have the option of going old school and plugging an Ethernet cable into your laptop or whatever, that will also help with at least probably the video quality.
So one quick thing, can we also be sure that everyone's restarting your computers? Oftentimes you forget to
Yes.
restart your computer and it's working so hard right now. Restarting it might actually solve your problem.
Yes. And then we have another question from Allison Hancock. When we send out emails, we get a lot of unsubscribers. What's the best way to send out emails so they aren't being bombarded with emails?
I would say don't send out a ton. I mean, I just know this from personal experience from unsubscribing from a lot of stuff that I get, that just those people that send out a ton of emails, I just don't want to see them anymore. So don't send out a ton of emails and you won't get as many unsubscribers. Secondly, I would just say don't sweat the unsubscribers. That's the biggest thing really, because you are going to get unsubscribers. It is a fact of life. And so the quicker you can accept that, the easier it's going to be to maintain an email list.
And it just means that the right people are actually staying on your list. So you can't be all things to all people. So just focus your message on the people that are open to it.
So I think we might have already answered this question, but I'll throw it out there in case there's some other thoughts about it. What ways can businesses be using video during this time?
No ways. There's no way to use video at this time right now at all. Yeah, there's a million ways that you can use videos. Even the ways that worked before, things like if you have on your site, your landing page, a video business card or a video to help promote your product, that can be helpful. procedure videos, like after someone signs up for an email list or signs up to have a meeting with you or something that tells them what to expect and do next. That's a good way. So then, and those are just kind of the regular ways. Some ways that I would recommend people use videos now are actually going to be geared more towards video ads, which I know like paid ads people are kind of afraid of right now. But the fact is, if you don't change something in your business, number one, and you don't market it, number two, it's all, then number one is all for nothing. So you have to change something in your business, and now you have to market it because you have to let people know. So paid ads are unfortunately the most efficient way to reach your specific target audience. So if you want to reach new customers specifically, then paid ads are the way to go.
So Jason, follow-on question to that. What's the right length for a video on social media?
So that depends. For things like a video business card, which I make typically for people's homepage, that means it's a defensive marketing asset. You have defense and you have offense in marketing. Your defense is when people are looking for you. So when they already want to look for you and they're already ready to invest a little bit of time in learning about you, then your video can be 2 to maybe 3 minutes long. And then if you're just posting a video on social media, like maybe you have a shortened version of your video business card that leads them to your page. For ads, you want them to be 15 seconds to 30 seconds long. That's for durations on different social networks. They can be, I mean, there's no one answer for this, because they can be as long as 5-6 minutes if you're doing an educational video on social media. So they can really be as long or as short as you want, but it kind of depends on what your audience is willing to watch and how engaging the first few seconds of your video are. If you can't, the real trick to having any video length, any video of any length, is having an engaging first 3 to 5 seconds, because that's how long you have to capture someone's attention and keep them watching. So if you can get that first 3 to 5 seconds right, there's really no limit to how long it can or should be. In fact, YouTube videos are around 10 to 15 minutes long each, usually on average. So people are spending a lot more time on YouTube than they are on Facebook or Instagram watching videos. But even those, like I said, those can still be as long as like 5 or 6 minutes, as long as you have that initial attention grabbing hook.
And the different platforms have their different limitations. So Instagram's only going to let you post a 1-minute video, and Twitter is under 2 minutes. Facebook will let you post a much longer length of video. But I think too, on different platforms, people have different expectations of how long a video should be. So they expect a longer video on YouTube. They expect maybe a medium length video on Facebook, and certainly a shorter length on Instagram. So it just depends on the platform. I think people have different expectations of what the length should be.
Thank you. So this is more of an area of expertise, I think, for Jessica Guan. So with everybody stuck at home, what are some creative ways to use and take photography?
Yeah, so I think that it's really important right now, like I said earlier, to continue to be posting. Some things that I think would be really smart to show on your social media platforms is what you have going on right now, like home life. You know, we are all in this situation together. Like, it's not just you. So just showing that you're in it with them, what's going on with your business. So if your doors are still open, how you're providing the community with your service, showing your face, because right now we are all craving human connection like we have never before. So showing who you are, who your family is, if you're comfortable with that, what you are doing is all really important.
Okay, thank you. What tips do you have for cell phone photography?
Sure, I can go all day about that. So some quick ones, I would say, Lighting, for one, try to avoid mixed lighting. So that's going to be the situation where, let's say you're inside your house and your overhead lights are on. Those are going to appear very yellow. So if you're near a window, the light is going to look very blue. So you're going to have one side that's blue and one side that's yellow. So if you're indoors, I suggest just turning off your indoor lighting and using exclusive window lighting would be best if you don't have any kind of other lighting gear. I'd also try to remember that the people that you're trying to speak to, you're not trying to attract them with your looks. You're trying to attract them with your personality. So avoid the overhead because you're trying to hide your double chin, or trying to just look as pretty as you can, because that's not what's going to give you the community you're looking for. We're not trying to go on Tinder here. We're trying to make connections. So remember that if you can post your genuine personality, you can show who you are. That's so much more important than looking pretty.
I think that's so true. Like being authentic and transparent is so important in marketing in general. And I think that's refreshing for photography as well.
So I can demonstrate what she's talking about with mixed lighting, because this is something that drives me crazy too as a video guy. I see this mixed lighting all the time. I'm indoor shooting houses with mixed lighting. It drives me bonkers. So right now, this light here is balanced to daylight. So this light that's hitting my cheek is coming from the window, and this light is balanced to daylight. But what I can do is switch this to tungsten balance, and now you can see this light's blue, the daylight's blue, and this side is really, really orange. And so when you have these mixed lights like this, that's what creates, you know, this like funky effect where I look like I should be on some movie poster or something with this blue and orange. So having a balanced mix like this is much more pleasing.
Another good thing is also you can, if you're using window light, part of your face might look really dark. So using something to reflect light, let me give you, make that something. Okay, so I have a white notebook right here. So white reflects light. So right now I have nothing here, so it's darker on this side of my face. But if you hold up, look how much brighter this side of my face got. So see that? So just having some kind of a wall to your side. So if you're a wall on one side or a window on the other, or even if you happen to have one, or if you are forced to go to the grocery store, getting like a big white foam board and putting it here can make a huge difference for making your lighting look more even.
I can see Michael's getting swarmed now for foam board. Okay, last question. What are some tools businesses can be using to create marketing content?
Your cell phone. Your cell phone is a camera, and as a video camera, you can create all your own content. I've actually, I don't know if we can link this in the Facebook Live, but I've got a video crash course that I've made for people just to learn kind of some of the basics of camera movement and composition just real fast. But that takes you through what you can do with your cell phone. And basically you can do anything from product shots. Actually, even with product shots, if you have a product that you're selling, it actually is a lot more effective, or often at times it's more effective to have that kind of home camera feel, kind of like a shot at home by an amateur, which is lucky because you are an amateur, so it doesn't matter. You've got this in the bag. So it to have that kind of feel then does pretty well with marketing campaigns or with advertising or just regular posts. But yeah, you can shoot all your own stuff with relative ease.
I couldn't agree with Jason more. I always like to say that the best camera you have is the one that's closest to you, because everyone always asks me, what camera do you have? Your photos are so good. It is not about your camera. It is about the skill that's behind it. So you can do professional looking photos on just about anything. It's knowing that lighting and like what Jason and I discussed earlier. And it's also just having the confidence to go for it and practice.
And I would say Facebook Editor Studio is great for scheduling Facebook and Instagram. And I think that's something that I would recommend, is that some of what do motivational things that are inspiring done and planned out. We don't know exactly what the future always holds, but we do know that everyone likes to be inspired. And I think that you have a lot in that value of inspiration. So taking an hour each week and scheduling out some consistent posting is not a bad idea, as well as, making sure your business listings are up to date.
I know one of the tools that we use heavily in the chamber, and you don't have to be very skilled at it, but the content looks really good, is Canva, which is an online tool at www.canva.com. The free version works great. You can pay a little bit each month for the paid version, which gives you some more content, but a relative amateur can create some really nice looking content. It's a lot more user-friendly than trying to work your way through Publisher. And you can then download all of those into either PDFs, either web-friendly or for print, or JPEGs or PNG files. So we have found that to be a super robust tool for us, particularly for us amateurs. Jessica uses the whole Adobe Creative Suite, but that's way beyond my skill set. But with Canva, I can create something that looks really nice, not be ashamed of it, have it reflect well on the Chamber brand. So that is one tool that we use that I would recommend. Jessica Love, do you have any tool recommendations?
Canva's kind of like you mentioned, my go-to. Even just creating something in simple in like Publisher or Word and changing it into a JPEG if you don't have the tools available is a great, easy thing to just get it going. Yeah, that's kind of
One of the great things about Canva is all of the pre-made templates. So if you want to, maybe this is a good time to update your Facebook banner on your Facebook page or any of your banners on your social media. The templates are great. So you don't have to worry about the sizing, and because all of the social media platforms take different sizes. So you can just go into Canva and say, okay, I want to make a Facebook banner, and it gets it all set up for you. So it's got business card sizes. It's not just for social media. You can use it for all different kinds of flyers. It's really pretty robust of what you can use it for, but it really does take any guesswork out of what size do I need for my Facebook profile photo or your LinkedIn banner. Maybe this is a great time to really refresh all of your channels.
and another. Sorry, go ahead, Megan.
One final thing too is you don't have to create content yourself. There's good content out there. You can absolutely share content. You can use the repost app, repost things that you're tagged in or that you're part of. There's lots of ways to get content that isn't necessarily creating it yourself too, because I know some people struggle with just thinking about even what to write or how to write it.
You do need to be careful with copyright though, because that can also
Yes.
bite you in the rear. So one of the websites the Chamber's found, if we need like imagery that we don't have, is pixabay.com. Lots and lots of free content from photographers out there if you need some sort of image, and they have free rights to use, so you don't have to worry about somebody coming after you for, royalties or anything like that. We have a couple of other questions from the listening audience. One is, Jason, if you could share again what the material is that's in your background wall. People are intrigued by that.
So this is, it actually, well, it looks like wood on video. It's not actually wood. It's printed on press board that I got from Home Depot for about $30 a panel. So these two panels for $60, and this was a logo that I had printed by Michael Carlson, Portland Badge and Sign.
Awesome. And then we have a question about Zoom. So how do you format all that you're doing now? Not quite sure I understand that question. On Zoom.
Watch Nathan Cook's how to Zoom.
Yes. And we
I think that's one. And then I think scheduling things out, like you can schedule things out in Zoom, and that's a great tool.
Right. Do we have any other questions, Jessica?
Nope, I think that's it.
So any final thoughts from our panelists?
Don't be silent, do something. Even if it's just a little every day, try to think of something to do and do that thing.
Keep a good mix of being positive and genuine.
I would say continue to let your community know that you're here and that you're not going to let a virus slow you down.
Yep. And I just want to reemphasize my point of we all know it needs to happen now. We know we need to pivot our business, but the other side of that is marketing your business. So figure out a plan for marketing your business.
And I'm not a marketing expert, but I would say balance your platform usage, right? Don't just only do Facebook or only do YouTube or only do Instagram, but spread it around because people are going to be in different places and we all need to hear things 5 to 7 times before they stick.
We do have, just so the committee knows, we have additional people commenting in the comment field on Facebook Live. So the presenters, if you could go back to the Facebook Live and answer any questions that we weren't able to get to. And then to the question that we got about the Zoom call, this is Facebook Live is a feature through Zoom, and it's just in your settings to do live streaming. You can also do live streaming through YouTube as well, and we can do a quick little video. I think Nathan actually talks about it in one of his training videos as well. So you can go Facebook Live through Zoom like we're doing right now.
Awesome. So I think that's it, right, Jessica?
Yep. Thank you so much to our panelists.
Thank you for
Thank you
having us.
all.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right. Bye, Facebook community.